I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're talking to a powerful author and poet. His name is James Mahoney, and he has written a wonderful book. It is called Love James, Poems of Sickness and Loss. It is a deeply personal collection of poetry inspired by the sickness and eventual passing of his wife of 43 years. Through his poignant verses, the author channels his sadness and frustration, seeking inner healing and offering solace to others experiencing similar losses. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. James, good to see you here today on Spotlight.
Good to be here.
This is a powerful book, born out of a lot of loss, a lot of sadness, a lot of love. Was it written over a period of time and you compiled the work, or did you write it specifically for this book?
I originally started writing I really don't know why. I mean, I never wrote too many poems in my life, and I wrote a few love poems, just kind of silly,
Yeah,
cutesy stuff for my wife. And but after she passed away, it's just I couldn't stop writing,
yeah,
and it just kind of took over my hands.
yeah. Good therapy too. What you're feeling,
I think so.
yeah, it's cathartic for sure, for sure. Um, Tell us a little bit about the book. What will folks find between the covers of this beautiful book?
Well, they're going to find going to be a lot of crying, so a lot of it's pretty sad. It was sad when I wrote them.
Yeah,
But you'll see the love. You'll see what she meant to me.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. What do you hope readers take away from your book?
Well, I hope that they can feel, the love I had with her, and they can have the same thing too. They can have the same release, that writing these poems has had for me.
Is there a particular poem in the book or a couple that perhaps have special significance for you?
Well, they all have significance, I guess, in their own way. A couple, one was uh, "We Lay Hyacinths on Her Grave." That one
Hmm.
came to me all at once and wrote it in 5 minutes. I mean, it was
Yeah,
just insane how your brain just takes over.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about your wife, since this is her book in many, many ways. Tell us a little bit about her.
Yeah, her name was Jerry. She was a cook, a gardener, a sewer. I mean, she did everything.
Hmm.
She was the one that was always laughing the loudest in the crowd, and she helped everybody and anyone. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just an unbelievable good person.
And you guys were married 43 years, huh?
One day short.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Tell us about your lives together. Did you live there in Michigan?
Yeah, we lived there in Michigan. She's from this area, the Carroll area.
Hmm.
I was more towards Detroit, and I just happened to be introduced at a Halloween party. My sister threw, and that was the end of that.
How old were you guys when you got married?
I was 20, she was 16.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. So pretty much your entire lives were together.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah. How long has she been gone now?
A little over 3 years.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it's still very, very difficult when you're with somebody that long. It's basically part of you, it's like your other half.
Yeah, it's something else. I never expected to. I always thought I'd be the first one gone.
Right, right. Yeah. In many ways, I think all us men who have lucky enough to have a great woman in their life pray that we're the first one gone because it's
Yeah,
difficult to be the one who's left behind.
absolutely.
Have you had the chance to share this book with anyone who's read it? And I just wanted to know what kind of feedback you've gotten. Was there a first reader that you shared it with?
Well, I have this one woman that was been our friends since we bought a cabin up over here by Port Sanilac over on uh, the lake.
Mhm.
Uh, she lost a son. She's lost two sons now, but she's just like my biggest fan.
Yeah,
She said it makes me cry, but I can't. I just want to keep reading them. So
yeah,
I think it does help people that have had loss in their life. I think they find it comforts them.
yeah. Yeah, and sometimes having a good cry is what you need because you're keeping it all bottled up inside. So you need to like, let it out. And there is a shared common experience in all of this, loss, just hurts so badly that sometimes reading other people's words about it, like you said, bring comfort and so at times a much needed cry. Now that you've started writing, you thinking about writing anything else?
Well, I've got about almost 300 poems written since I did this book. So I intend to put maybe a couple more books together.
Wonderful, wonderful. And what are those poems about?
More the same,
Yeah,
except a lot of the silly love poems. I
right.
want to include them too. So
Great.
we don't have to cry all the time. We can also giggle and smile and have a good time too. So
Exactly, exactly. Did those poems begin roses are red, violets are blue?
not quite,
Not
no. But
quite.
I did a couple just to be funny to my mother. Roses are red, violets are blue. Oh my God, you're 50. Just stuff like that. But I was never really serious, until
Right.
just a few years ago.
Exactly, exactly. Well, I think, heartbreak kind of lends itself to creativity. It's all of the kind of part of it. I mean, I think that's why so many really great writers have had troubled life stories, is because, to get that depth of emotion and put it on paper, you kind of have to have lived through it. That's for sure.
Yeah, I
What do you
agree.
do? What do you do in Michigan besides write? What do you?
Well, I'm retired out of the auto industry now.
Mhm.
I also, you know, pass the time away. I paint, pictures and uh,
Is that some of your artwork behind you?
gardening. Oh, yes, it is.
That's really beautiful. It's really very,
Thank
very
you.
nice. Yeah,
Thank you.
that's great. Did you work for one of those big motor companies out there like Ford or Chevy or
Yep.
GM? Yeah.
I worked for Ford for 44 years.
Okay, great. How'd you like it?
Well, towards the end, I liked, I was job setting and doing things with robots. So yeah, I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got a new.
Anytime you're fixing things, it's fulfilling, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a form of creativity as well. So I have a new Bronco that I love, which I guess is one of the premier vehicles on the Ford line. It's actually still built in Detroit, which is nice because a lot of the vehicles aren't even made in Detroit anymore, right?
Right.
Yeah. Good, good, good. Well, we look forward to reading more of your poetry and more of your work, and probably seeing some of your artwork in these collections as well.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. The name of this book we've been talking about today is called Love James, Poems of Sickness and Loss. It is a personal collection, a deeply personal collection of poetry inspired by the sickness and eventual passing of his lovely wife of 43 years. They were married from the time she was 16 and the time he was 20. And these powerful, poignant verses channel his sadness and frustration, but also shine a light of hope and healing for others to experience as well. James, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you very much for having me.
I appreciate your time. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.